And for those people that have read New Thought, done programs and manifesting and The Secret and all, you don't have to put, one of the hardest things to do, right? Or even just people who are religious and, it's like one of the admonitions is, inflame yourself with prayer. Well, that's easier said than done, right? It's like, so what's the difference here? Or what's your point, Brian? Well, it's like, for all the people that have tried that and not been able to get up to that fever pitch, thinking yourself already in that experience, it's sort of like, that's the conundrum, right? How can I feel rich when when I'm not rich? I've never been rich. And, how do I do that? How do I get myself into that like hyper excitable state? And it always seems artificial, and in a lucid dream, you don't have to make it up. Right? You're in it. It's hyper, visual, sensory apparatus, sounds and saturation levels of color and, surreal basically. And the feelings are that way too. I mean, you can't not emote when you're, seeing something that's the most beautiful thing you've ever witnessed in your life. I mean, you're not going to be like, oh, well, this is just lucid dreaming and I'm going to, it's like you don't robot out in that, right? It's like you're engaged completely. You don't need to inflame yourself. That's a natural occurrence. And so it's engaging in that environment that does it. And so do you not think that will carry through when you come back? It's going to. I mean, there's no way for you to not have that. Imagine the best experience you've ever had, and then, thinking the next day it's all going to be gone. You're going to forget that somehow. It's like, geez, we relive those experiences our whole lives, right? And it's like, and just bringing them up in our minds, we can sort of start to wistfully get emotional about that and sort of get a flavor of that. Well, imagine doing that 3 times a week for real. And then, what's your family life going to be like after that when people are just engaged? You're so engaged in life after that because of your experiences. It just carries that momentum, emotional momentum, that energetic momentum carries into everything else that you do. You can't help it. You just got a big shit-eating grin on your face all day long after that, right? And it's like, and people are like, whoa, okay. It's a little creepy, but okay. We know he's harmless. He's a good guy. It's all right, or a good girl, whatever, right? And so, but, think about it. I mean, it's just common sense, for anybody who's kind of dipped their toes in those manifesting type things, right? And so, if you don't have to make that up, I mean, it's like, I always tell people, imagine, what a normal day at work, and you start off by spilling coffee on yourself or, getting bad news right in the beginning. It's like the whole day is like, I mean, you can get back to your center, whatever that means for you, kind of progress through the day, but it's not nearly going to be as good a day as if you start off the day and the first thing that you open in the mail is a big giant check. Right? And it's like, whoa, especially if it's not one you're waiting for, right? It's just sort of out of the blue. It's like, dude, a boatload of shit can happen at that moment and through the day. And you're going to deal with it. You're going to take care of it, but you're going to deal with it with a smile on your face or a different attitude. And things are going to be so much better. Imagine being in that state all the time. I mean, that's sort of the beauty of this. And it doesn't, it will carry through. Yeah, we can point it in directions of, the basic things that we're always talking about, right? Relationships and, success and wealth and health, right? And spiritual connection, obviously. But, I mean, it doesn't matter what you're doing in that. I would say, even, let's say you are one of those people that after 30, 40 times getting out and you're just, like, okay, I want to do something new. Even in those times of just hedonistic pleasure, whatever that is, just a total adventure, Indiana Jones style, whatever, right? Zipping through nebulae and just, anything that you could possibly think of. And having those experiences and coming back and going like, how are you going to go through your day after that? how are you going to greet your family after that? I mean, it's like, you're going to be high. It's like there's nothing that's going to happen that's going to like really drag your ass back down to the ground, and definitely not in the same way that you were before, right? So, I mean, that just keeps being enhanced. I mean, and it does flow into everything else that you do. So, I mean, that's just like I would say a positive side effect, right? You learn how to, or you can learn how to, how does it affect, your life when we were talking about in general, or just a great attitude, that can be enough, right? But at the same time, it's sort of like, can it make you better in your relationships? Can it make you specifically better in your health, in your success, right? Imagine the perfect lab for any of those things. You're building programs in your mind that are, that are transferring through to your body so that, you can experience a different mode of life here in this, in the full life, not just your dreaming life, but in this physical reality as well, right?
And this is where we go.
Who wouldn't want to do that?
Yeah. And this is where we go beyond those ideas of like, this is just the way I am.
Right. Just the way you are is just the way you think you are. So change your thoughts, you'll change yourself. And if you can add, it's one thing to say change your thoughts, but if we can change your experience, or you can change your experience, and you're experiencing it over and over and over and over again, there's no way at that point it's going to become so common for you. It's going to be your common experience, and you're going to engage it here as if it was just like there, because you're not even going to be able to help it. You've done it so many times. Who knows? Maybe it's 10 times, maybe it's 1,000 times, but each increment, it will make your life here so much more full. And I think that that's worth it. I think that alone, whether you're going off to some, great spiritual, end result, or, whatever it is that you want to do, right? It's like, if this is an aspect that you can learn, if this is something that you can learn to do, to give you that experience, and at the same time produce an experience in this life that you would prefer over what you experience up to this point, then wouldn't that be worth it? Would it be worth the discipline to be able to go through the exercises, to, interrupt your sleep? It's not such a big deal, to do this, to do that, it's like, go through it, so that, because knowing that as a goal and experiencing that, and what's the alternative? Just kind of stay in that place your whole life and move on afterwards, thinking the whole time like, why couldn't I have a life that was filled with this or that or the other things? It's like, that's just regret. It's like, you can. It's just, the traditional ways that we think about it here, going to therapy, or, this, that, and, if you're afraid of public speaking, going to Toastmasters. And, I know plenty of people that have gone to Toastmasters and they still stumbled when they were up, giving their speech for their brother at their wedding or something, it's like, and, so these, hitting the problem from that same level that it's created, it doesn't work, right? Or very rarely works. So you got to go above that. And so I don't know anything that's above this, other than some kind of like, epiphany, thunderclap, and, your holy guardian angel shows up in front of you and says like, I think you've had enough shit for this life. Let me just see, what do you want? What do you want? I'm here for you, pal. What do you want? Just let me just produce this new life for you. It's like, maybe it happens. I mean, I haven't been that lucky, but but barring that, I mean, what else are you going to do, right? So, I mean, this is a method that anyone can learn, really, with a minimum, with a certain amount of discipline and sacrifice, obviously, but you can. And the effects that it can produce for you are so far reaching. It's anything we say, anything that I say is going to fall short of what it actually is for each person.